your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to an episode of Wrestling with Freddie. Jeff's on assignment. On today, we're going to get into the New Day and all the drama, the breakup, the throwing away of one of your founding members, the disrespect and the pain. We're also going to get into CM Punk and Seth Rollins because CM Punk doesn't have time for Seth Rollins anymore because Seth Rollins doesn't have any gold. We'll get into Gunther. Who's next for Gunther? Could it be Finn Balor? He's pissing him off enough that I'd sure as hell fight him. We'll get into whatever else we have time for on today's Wrestling with Freddie. Let's start the show. All right, you guys. We're going to start not with CM Punk, but with the New Day. Xavier Woods was one of our first guests ever on the show. Might have been our first guest, actually. First or second. He was in studio with us when we recorded, right here where I am right now, just sitting to my left. And we shared a microphone. We were microphone sharers because back then I didn't even have two mics. Sad days, season one. Very sad days. You guys should feel bad for me. His storyline as is currently constructed, let's back up a little bit. Karrion Kross has been planting seeds in people's heads before having to deal with the Wyatt Six. Maybe that's why they're trying to punish him, because he's a seed planter. He planted the seed in Woods' brain that everybody's got gold in the New Day except you. Why is that? Why are you always second banana? Are you not good enough? I think you are. I think the WWE Universe thinks you are. It's so stupid, WWE Universe. Just call us fans. I hate that, all this corporate terminology. But anyway, Woods bought into it a little bit, and we've seen it start to degenerate and rot away and rust the relationship of the New Day and the trust of the New Day between he and Kofi. And it's cost them matches. It's cost them, we thought it was going to cost them their friendship. There was a lot of conflict, a lot of drama, and all this right before the 10-year anniversary of the New Day. This faction was hated when they came out. Everyone thought they were just jobbers, and they would scream, "New Day sucks." And they turned it into something so special that it went from New Day sucks to New Day rocks, and everybody's won. You have two world champions, and you have a King of the Ring. And you have, I think they've won 427 tag team titles, which is the most of anybody by far. That last part's not true. Well, the 427 part. I don't even know if I said 427. But anyway, Adam Pearce, the general manager, who has no control over his roster. The poor man has the hardest job in wrestling, controlling all these monsters, all these crazy men, all these crazy women, always breaking up fights. Far too late. He introduces the 10-year anniversary of the New Day, and out comes Kofi Kingston, and out comes Xavier Woods, and they make separate entrances because they're not tight. They're not bros right now, and they get out there and the reminiscing of the old times of the booty-os and throwing pancakes in the crowd and the unicorn horns that were very phallic. All these things start to bring them back together a little bit, and they start seeing the light, so to speak, a little bit, but there's still some drama there, and they're missing one member. And all of a sudden from the back, here he comes, as predicted. Everyone predicted it. Big E. And the crowd goes crazy, and he comes out looking smooth and svelte in a suit, and he walks out to the ring, and he's concerned about his brothers. He's concerned about his friends, his best friends. He's concerned about the New Day, and he tries to remind them what they've built and how they built it, and to make sure that this doesn't go south again. Even though he can't wrestle, he's going to represent the New Day as their manager. And the crowd goes crazy. I think this was Vancouver, Canada. And the crowd, maybe not. It might have been Washington. I don't remember. It was a good crowd. Wherever you are, pat yourself on the back. And we're excited. The TV audience at home is excited because we've all wanted this. We've all wanted the return of Big E. And everyone's excited except Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. And they take this different perspective of, no, man, we don't want you. Where have you been? You're just showing up now. what the hell, F you. And it's this total swerve that I don't think anybody saw coming. I certainly didn't. And I feel like I'm pretty keyed into how wrestling storylines are worked. So I loved getting tricked. And they were pissed at Big E and said, "You're just showing up now? Now? What about when we were having problems earlier? What about when we were on the path to this destructive place we're at now? Where were you then?" And they said some really mean things to Big E. And Big E took it. And let me say this. It was the best acting that Big E has ever put out there. It's the best performance that he's put on camera, period. He was so vulnerable. And to see a big, huge guy like that be vulnerable, it hurts. You know, I don't know why it hurts us, because we want our men to be so strong and impenetrable. And to show, you know, emotional blood, so to speak, to show that you've been wounded by the people you love takes a lot of courage and a lot of guts. And I respected his work a lot in this segment. And they just insulted him time and time again. They even said, "Let's be honest, Big E, you're never getting cleared to wrestle." And he just took that bullet right to the heart. And everything they said, you could see it hurt him and affected him. And he's talking off mic like, "This is how it's going to be. After everything we've done, it's going to be like this." And they cold shouldered him. He got 4 cold shoulders. And eventually he leaves the ring, and we see Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, who have been having beef and conflict for the last month at least, do the Predator handshake that Carl Weathers, rest in peace, and Arnold Schwarzenegger did in the movie, where he's like, "Dutch, you son of a bitch." And they did the handshake of power. We got a heel New Day, which is cool, but the segment was so genuinely disappointing, not in a bad way. I mean this as a compliment, because of the way they treated Big E and the destruction of the New Day and the reformation of this new version of the New Day all happened at once while I was still feeling horrible for Big E. So damn you, Kofi Kingston, and damn you, Xavier Woods, even though you were a guest and supporter of the show. It was a beautiful segment. I loved it. I hope you guys dug it too. I just thought it was really, really good. They didn't even have a lot of wrestling on Monday Night Raw. I guess they never do. It's more the talking show, and SmackDown wrestles a little bit more. But man, what a segment. It was awesome. Transitioning to your all's favorite wrestler, CM Punk. You chant his name in every arena he goes to. You also sing Seth Rollins songs, and it's good that you do both. And it's good that you have love for both, because they both happen to be in this segment. CM Punk came out and the crowd loved him, and he's growing the hair out. It's getting long and shaggy. He's letting everybody know that his path is to WrestleMania. And he cuts it's an average promo for Punk, which is still like an 8, 9, or friggin' 10, because he's excellent on the mic. But he's not giving us any real new information. He's just giving us old information in a colorful way, in a new way. And he's pointing to a sign that doesn't exist, but he can see it. It was really smart. And he gets interrupted before he can go too far by Seth Rollins. The only one who can interrupt Seth and get cheers, except maybe Drew McIntyre. And Seth comes out, and he's pissed. He hates CM Punk. Damn, screw you, CM Punk. I hate you. I think you suck. I wish you were never back here. You're a piece of crap. All this stuff. That's how Seth Rollins feels. And some other wrestlers. CM Punk's not having it from Seth Rollins. He goes, "Hey, man, 6 months ago was 6 months ago. And I was interested in you because you had gold. But you have no gold now, so you don't even exist on my radar." And they talk about how much, or Seth Rollins talks about how much he hates him. And it quickly turned into the LL Cool J Cannabis beef from back in the late 90s, early 2000s. When Cannabis had that rap where he's like, "And I snatched the mic off your arm." I can't rap. LL didn't like that, and they had beef. And Cannabis said, "Yo, 99% of your fans are all women." And LL Cool J came back with 99% of your fans don't exist. And everyone was like, "Oh, shit. I guess that rap beef is over." That's what CM Punk did to Seth Rollins. He's like, "Yo, you've been thinking about how much you hate me for the last 6 months. I haven't thought about you once." and he completely dismissed him. He's done this before, but it's always a cool promo, and it's a cool diss to let somebody know that they take up no space in your head, but it's good to know how much space you take up in theirs. I think if more celebrities dealt with trolls that way, they wouldn't get their feelings hurt so much. But people are so sensitive now that I think they actually do think about those comments. I'm from an older generation, so it doesn't bother me. That's why I ask for your mean comments as well as your nice ones when we do reviews, because I don't care. But CM Punk did not care about Seth Rollins, and that pissed Seth Rollins off, and they got in a fight. And guess who had to come out again? Adam Pearce's security force to split everything up. Why? Because he's a reckless general manager who should not be put in the position he's in because he doesn't care about the safety of his wrestlers. I'm just kidding. That's why I said it's super dramatic. Anyway, Sami Zayn comes out, Jey Uso comes out, everybody comes out to break this fight up, which led to some storyline down the road, which was good. And it got to our main event, which was Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn in a really fun match that made sense. There was story behind it. It just wasn't a booked match. It was really cool. I like the way WWE does that. I wish AEW could do more of that because they give great matches, but not always with a story. Sometimes they'll use the tournament as an excuse, which is cool. WWE does tournaments too, but they do it without the tournament aspect as well, just because it would be an awesome match. And it's great to get to see awesome matches, but I would love it if there was a bit more, just even if it's a week or if it's just a 2-hour storyline building up to that, as opposed to, hey, here's the match, check it out, it's going to be great. They're always great. You know what I mean when I say always, maybe not always, but most of them are great. I just wish there was more story there. This was great story. It wasn't just in ring, but it was told out of ring as well, because Jey Uso gets attacked and Sammy's like, yo, I know who did this and I'm going to show him what's up. And that gave him more motivation to fight Seth later that night. Thought they did it well. Anyway, constructive criticism and a compliment. So anyway, moving on. Gunther, Finn Balor, he wants the gold bad. And his character, even though he's a bad guy right now, if you were committed to him back in the day when he first won the Universal Championship, the dumbest name for a title ever, it was cut short because in the match with Seth Rollins, he like dislocated his shoulder or tore his labrum or something. The left shoulder was toast. And he had to give up the title the very next day on Monday Night Raw. I think he got to present it on Good Morning America. And then right after that had to drop the title, not drop the title, had to give up the title, which is brutal. And he hasn't been the champ since, which is brutal. And you can see how hungry and how desperately he wants this title back and to have that gold around his waist. And he feels so deserving of it. The crowd, I think, even though he's a bad guy right now, secretly wants him to have it as well. I don't think there's any chance he wins the match against Gunther, but I guess there's a chance. I don't see why you build up Gunther unless he's going to have a long title run. So I don't think it's Finn's time yet, but it has to be Finn's time again soon, one day, maybe when he's out of the Judgment Day. I know he has tag team gold, but that's different. It's not at the same level. It's not booked at the same level. It's not presented at the same level. So I don't receive it as if it's at the same level. It's still cool, but it's not the heavyweight championship. So he's trying to do everything he can to piss off Gunther. And Gunther's like, you know what? You pissed me off so much, I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm going to wrestle bitch-ass Dominic Mysterio instead. And Dominic's like, yo, don't call me a bitch-ass, man. What's up with that? Germans aren't supposed to do that. Or Austrians. I think he's Austrian. And he has a match, and he just annihilates poor Dominic. Finn Balor runs out and gives him like 27 coup de grace, stomps all over him. So that'll get us to the match. Maybe it'll be the Saturday Night Special. What do they call it? Saturday Night's Main Event. Saturday Night Special sounds good too, though. Or maybe it'll be the next pay-per-view, but that'll be our next championship match, and that'll be fantastic. It'll be a safe prediction to say my man Gunther's going to win. Main event, we talked about this a little bit already. And I don't want the show to go too long where we run out of time and can't talk about anything else. But we had Seth Rollins defeating Sami Zayn in the main event, and Drew McIntyre returned and attacked and beat down Sami Zayn at the end of the match. So he's back, and I guess him and Sami will have a storyline, which would be nice, and they can fight over something that's not a bracelet, a toe ring, a belt, a headband, or an Adidas sports jacket, although those are worth fighting for. Don't ever let anybody jack you for your jacket. Yeah, so we'll move on. WWE. Well, before we get into that, hold on one second. Let's talk about Kevin Owens. Cody Rhodes came out, cut a promo, talking about his match with Kevin Owens. Standard Cody Rhodes promo, representing the company, representing the title, representing you and me and all the people who believed in him. The Kevin Owens segment, first of all, was built up beautifully, because instead of having him in studio where Michael Cole planned on interviewing him, Kevin Owens refused to even come in the arena and cut a little video on his phone where he's like, I'm not even coming in. I'm preemptively strike since I get kicked out every single time. I kick myself out. You want to have an interview with me? You got to come out here in the freezing cold in my rental car and interview me, Michael Cole. And Michael Cole doesn't want to do that. Corey Graves doesn't want him to do that, but he's going to do it because he's a professional journalist. Damn it. He's Michael friggin' Cole. And he goes out there into Kevin's car, and they have this, I think it was a 3-camera setup, one on the front and one on each side for like a close-up, sort of a clean close-up. The end of this segment, I'm sure is being talked about, is so worth everything that happens. My daughter was watching this segment with me while we were eating dinner. My son was watching anime. He's big into anime right now, you guys. He has been for the last couple of years, which has gotten me into anime. There's some good shit out there. Even if you're an old cat like me, you see some stuff that might bring you to tears straight up. Kevin Owens cuts this promo, and Michael Cole challenges him like a good journalist should. He doesn't softball these guys. He's throwing fastballs, baby. But Kevin Owens takes him deep every single time and is blaming Cody for this, blaming Cody for that. Michael Cole's like, yo, you should look in the mirror. He's like, oh, I'm looking in the mirror. I'm looking in the mirror right now. You know what I see? I see a handsome guy who's right. Who's right? My opinion's right. Your opinion is wrong. And he's so awesome. He was way better than what I just did. And that's not what he said. My daughter starts laughing. And she goes, Dad, I think I like evil Kevin Owens more than good guy Kevin Owens. I said, me too. I think everybody loves this Kevin Owens. He's so good. And his actions make him more evil than his promos, right? His promos, he's going to allow frustration to take over, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. And through that frustration comes a lot of opportunity for subtle, like comedic moments, which he had a dozen in this segment. He's absolutely killing it. And none of this compares to the tag at the end. He throws Michael out of his car. He goes, get out of my rental car. Leave my rental car immediately. You're no longer allowed to interview me. Go out in the cold and freeze your nuts off as you walk back inside the arena. And Michael Cole's like, oh, fine. I friggin' came out here for nothing. He gets out of the car and he slams the door. And Kevin goes, Michael. And Michael Cole turns around and goes, oh, did you want to apologize? And before he can finish the word apologize, Kevin just rolls up the window and stares at him and doesn't say a fucking word. It was so beautiful. It was the funniest shit. We used to do that in high school to buddies. Like, it was... I love Kevin Owens. I think he's hysterical. I love when he's evil. He was evil at the end of the show, so don't worry. He wasn't just funny. But it was a great segment. And I love Michael Cole when he eats shit. Very few people eat shit better than Michael Cole. He did it with Pat McAfee on a weekly basis when Pat was there. And to see him do it with someone the level of Kevin Owens is just, you guys get to see, just masterful performances by both guys. It's weird to talk so much about Michael Cole. He's not even a wrestler, but he just did such a great job with that. Anyway, Shinsuke Nakamura, they do the subtitle thing with him to help kind of get his message through and get his message over. He talked about being the new champ. He looks great. There was some beef with LA Knight there. LA Knight came out. He's like, yo, I'll wrestle you right now straight up in a rematch, which makes you think, oh, we're going to get a title shot without a pay-per-view. This is going to be amazing. No, wrong. Andrade comes out. He's not having it. The Bloodline comes out. They're pissed off. They've been pissed off the whole show. On Monday Night Raw, they were pissed off. They're pissed off on Friday Night SmackDown. They're just pissed off, letting people know they may have lost the match, but they're still here. And Shinsuke is like, all right, I'm just going to dip out real quick and let you guys have your moment. See y'all later. And they didn't have beef with him, so they let it slide. And then in our main event, we got Cody Rhodes versus Chad Gable. It's wild how times have changed. Like back in the day, the champ Hulk Hogan would wrestle bums on free TV, and you knew who was going to win right away. And even though you know who's going to win most of the time these days, when you get top dudes wrestling each other, it's just a special match, and it happens every single week. And that's just crazy to me. Like when I was a kid, the free wrestling kind of sucked. It was the pay-per-view match that cost so much friggin' money that it was where you got the good guy versus the bad guy. And here's the match I really want to see, instead of the local guy versus the champion and the local guy just getting one punch in and then getting beat up the rest of the match. Chad Gable versus Cody Rhodes was awesome. Chad Gable, his promos are 10 times better than they used to be. He hung in there with Cody in the promo segment at the top of the show. And he just did a great job in there, man. Maybe I've slept on Chad. I don't know if I've slept on him. I feel like I've given him love. But shit, man, his matches are so good and just so much fun to watch. And he's so smart in there. And he makes you believe he can win, even when you know there's no way he can win. It's just weird. It's just weird how good he is. Anyway, I'm not going to throw tons of flowers at these guys, but they did a great job. Let's move on. The AEW Continental Classic Blue League match. The show opened with Kyle Fletcher versus Shelton friggin' Benjamin. That's how the show opened. Now, I said earlier in the show, I wish they would have more story behind their matches. And I do mean that. But in a tournament, there's an excuse to have it. Shelton Benjamin loses this match, but looks great. They told some story afterwards, which kind of saves it, where MVP's like, I told you not to play with these kids, man. Like, what's wrong with you? I would have rather seen Shelton and Kyle down the road in this tournament, like as the two finalists in the Blue League. And then the winner of that would have the most points and go on. They did it in the first, because I just think you're still trying to build up the Hurt Syndicate and build up Shelton. So I don't think he should have taken a loss that quickly. But they kind of excused it with the post thing with MVP, where he's like, why are you playing with him? Meaning you didn't take the match seriously, and that's why you lost. So that's how they're trying to protect him, which is cool. And then they beat up a bunch of security guards. But I still wish that match would have been later on. I get the fact that AEW is different from WWE and likes to just give us straight fastballs as often as they can, as quickly as they can figure out which pitch is best. The fastball, give them the fastball. Which pitch is best? The fastball, give them the fastball. They don't always have a fastball. Sometimes they throw you a curve, and then here comes the fastball again. I just prefer, like I said, I'm older. I'm almost 49 years old. I'll be 49 next year. I like stories. Anyway, the match itself, I don't even know what to say, dude. Like, Shelton Benjamin was doing matches like this against Shawn Michaels on Monday Night Raw 20 years ago. He looks exactly the same, and he's still giving amazing matches. And people are still sleeping on him. That's crazy to me, but I guess that's where we're still at. He's amazing. Turn off my podcast right now. Go on YouTube and watch the Shawn Michaels, Shelton Benjamin thing. Just type it into YouTube, and you'll see one of the greatest matches you've ever seen in your life. That's how good this guy's been, and that's how long he's been this good. It's just crazy to me. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the match and give you play-by-plays, but you should for sure watch it. And that was definitely the match of the night. They had other good matches with Castagnoli versus Brody King, where we got a little meat chant going on. Shout out to everyone chanting meat. But other than that, it was really focused on the tournament. And again, there's no motive there. I'm not going to give you play-by-play. He hit him with a left hand, and then he took a chop, and then he hit him with another left hand. I'm not going to do that. A lot of chops, though, and I'm liking the chops more and more. And WWE's liking the chops more and more. I see you guys taking a little bit here and there. Anyway, you guys, stay tuned for Thursday's Unsanctioned Show. Don't forget, we're also going to answer questions. Lots and lots of questions from the listeners, from you, the people of the Federation. Thank you guys for tuning in every week. Don't forget, you can always leave a review. And if you do, whether it's good or bad, I'll read it on the air. And I've done way more WWE since I read that one that was like, hey, man, more WWE. So see, man, I can take criticism without crying, without shedding a tear. And if you do cry, that's okay too, fellas. It's okay to cry. That's why women live longer than men, because we hold that shit in and we die at 65 instead of 85. So let it out once in a while. Let it out around the bros. Tune in Thursday. Thanks for listening. Peace.
This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.